Hey everybody, welcome to our April edition of Microsoft Updates. I'm Chris Dreer, Technical Director here at HAYNE.cloud. Right, let's get into it and start having a check out of what Microsoft's gone up to this month. Okay, so April Microsoft Updates. So what's new and exciting? First things first, Passkeys with Microsoft Authenticator. If anyone's not aware of what Passkeys are, if we're thinking back to sort of FIDO2 technology, so that's a common technology you might see in the infra authentication is you may have a YubiKey or something that has like a code on, you plug it into your laptop, and that's how you log into your laptop, nice and secure, taking away passwords from of being that primary form of authentication. What Microsoft have been doing is developing passkeys using their Microsoft Authenticator app, which most people use commonly for multi-factor authentication anyway. Passkeys provide a more secure and convenient method to logging into websites, applications, computers compared to passwords. This feature is currently out in preview. As I mentioned, it's going to allow you to use the multi-factor authentication app from Microsoft, and it's going to use those FIDO industry security best standards that's adopted by all major platforms. Hopefully, with this technology, we'll be going one step closer to getting rid of passwords and having a bit of a more secure future. Not only just having benefits over being more secure, it's a bit more user-friendly. It's a very simple nature. The passkeys, are easy to generate. They don't require memorization and don't require the added protection that a generic password would require. It's going to stop attackers from guessing or accessing, which helps immune the sort of attacks that will commonly be played against passwords, etc. So yeah, super excited to see how this goes. It's currently in preview. Links on the docs, so feel free to check it out. You can obviously, if you have a test tenant or something like that, or you want to get it tested, you can start deploying this in your tenant today, maybe to a pilot group or something, just to see what the benefits are to your organization. Microsoft High Volume Emails. This was announced in April, so this is in preview as well. But what this is going to do is get you a way of sending mass mails to your, to your customer base. Maybe you're in marketing, you've got marketing campaigns. You want to send, a campaign out to sort of 50,000 contacts. Commonly, what you'd have is a third-party service, so it protects your email domain's spam reputation against all the checks that various email servers go through to make sure you're not being blacklisted, reported as spam, that kind of thing. So Microsoft's new high-volume email services are aimed at help organizations with those line of business applications that have a genuine business need to send out mass volumes of email. One of the other benefits of this solution is a lot of people would have kept around maybe a hybrid exchange server, so an exchange server that still sits on-prem or in a data center somewhere, just to fire mail out through for high volume needs. Again, this is one step Microsoft are making to be able to eradicate those hybrid exchange servers forever. The HVE, high volume email model, is based on a transactional model of number of emails sent. During the preview, there's no cost associated, but the maximum is 100,000 recipients per day per tenant. So actually, for most SMB businesses, that's going to be more than adequate for them to send enough emails out. Obviously, if you're a much larger enterprise, then potentially you will still need a third-party service, or look at what Microsoft's options are when it goes into sort of global rollout, and see if there's any way you can pay for potentially to send more emails, because it may still be more cost-effective than paying for a third-party service. So tenant admins can adjust the volume themselves, and then the cost and that will associate depending on what Microsoft release. Like I say, it's in preview now. It should be available in your tenants, so in your Exchange admin portal, so you can go check that out and have a play around with it and see if you can get rid of your third-party mail sending solutions. Quick update on Microsoft 365 licenses. Microsoft have released a raft of changes to some of the SKUs in Microsoft 365. This is in response to the European Commission. Microsoft have now changed it, so the Microsoft 365 is an Office SKU, so we're talking M365 E3, E5, O365, E3, E5. No longer come with Teams baked in. This is an approach that simplifies customer choice. In a nutshell, people were complaining that you're being forced into a product such as Teams, essentially, and as part of this agreement, Microsoft are basically saying, for enterprises, you have to select a SKU that doesn't have Teams and then have Teams as an add-on, essentially. So in real terms, the following SKUs won't come with Teams baked in. Talking M365 E3, E5, O365 E1, E3, and E5. M365 Business Premium, Standard and Basic, and then the F Series, so F1, F3, and the O365 F3. There will be some SKUs in this sort of more SMB tier that will have a SKU with Teams with and one without, so you can differentiate when ordering them. For enterprise customers, you'll have your O365, M365, E3, E5, but then you'll need to order the additional Microsoft license SKU or team for the SKU for Teams for your enterprise. Current customers that have got SKUs that have them included, no need to worry. You can keep subscriptions as they are, keep renewing, upgrading, adding licenses, adding changes. But it is quite a big change for partners, so especially those in the MSP space or cloud service provider space that are providing Microsoft licenses. Just be aware for those enterprise customers that you just need to make sure that A, do they want Teams included, and B, if they do, make sure you include and order that additional SKU. Microsoft Planner updates. So back in November during Microsoft Ignite, announcement was made that a new version of Microsoft Planner will be coming. This feature has finally been released in general availability, so users that are already familiar should start seeing those changes if they already happen for you. Planner is probably one of those underutilized tools. For those who haven't used it before, think to-do lists. Most of you should be fairly familiar with what to do is. If not, it's just a list of things for you to do. Essentially, you keep adding things onto the list or ticking them off as you go. You can also share them and things like that. But it's to do meets project. Essentially, it gives you a greater ability to outline, plan, develop, and action your workloads. Utilize features like lists, Kanban boards, schedules, as well as inviting third parties in. So sometimes we use them for smaller projects in our managed service provider space. So if we've got a small project, a couple of users, one external vendor maybe, we'll pull them in, just have put a quick project plan together, Kanban boards, schedule things, etc. So as well as that, you can now use the new planner inside Microsoft Teams. Helps that sort of single pane of glass approach that Microsoft keep trying to push with Microsoft Teams. I think they're trying to embed Loop, OneDrive, all the various things you keep seeing now added into there. It's coming back to that Teams being your sort of central port of call for everything Microsoft essentially. So but again, allows you to leverage simple automations with Power Automate, and gives you a way of managing projects, whether they're simple or complex projects for an organization, and helps speed up your business. One big release that came this month was Security Copilot. I know Copilot has been bounded on month after month. The Security Copilot has been leveraged at sort of your much larger enterprises, or if you're in the managed security provider space and you're leveraging a Microsoft Azure Sentinel instance to capture log analytics and analyze them and report on events, and maybe do some things like automatic remediation. So maybe it'll lock a PC out, maybe force a user to reset a password based on a series of events that it detects. Security Copilot is aiming to sort of make it a lot easier for things like incident summarization. So it detects a load of logs. Copilot then be able to put that into something that's a bit more plain English for your SOC analysts or your engineers to understand. So it'll be able to dumb that down and say, hey, in real terms, this is what's been happening. Analyze what the impact is, that, and again play that back in simpler terms. Potentially, if you give it a script or it detects some scripts or codes, then it can reverse engineer it, so it can explain to you what exactly is going on, as well as give SOC analysts, engineers, anybody that's using this service a guided response to incidents, which is going to be massively beneficial. Obviously, caveat with all things AI: make sure that you're double checking the evidence, that the responses that it's given you. Make sure that if something doesn't feel quite right based on your experience, then make sure you trust your gut a little bit. AI is fallible, it's not always correct. There's no doubt that this tool could be really beneficial for the larger businesses in that sort of security space. Based on sort of estimations and time savings, I've seen some businesses say it's equivalent to a $50,000 head in the business in terms of time savings, cost saving, and that sort of thing. In terms of costs, it runs on a metric called a security compute unit, which currently sits around $3,000 per month for one SCU, security compute unit, running 24/7. Based on current understanding, there is no way to start that SCU. So once you've provisioned one, it's going to cost you $3,000 a month. So just make sure if you are testing and playing around with it that you deprovision it at the end of it. But yeah, for those in the security space that are leveraging large quantities of Sentinel environments, and you're struggling with analyzing incidents, getting summaries, reverse engineering bits and pieces, it's going to be a massive benefit. And I can really see where that sort of $50,000 value return is if you're in that space and you're using it constantly. So yeah, really looking forward to what the future holds with Security Copilot, especially as we leverage things like Sentinel and stuff ourselves. But yeah, links below, feel free to check it out. And finally, obviously, if there's anything else you want to know about Microsoft and Azure, feel free to reach out to us, drop us an email, give us a call, drop us a message on LinkedIn and a like and a follow. That's everything for us this month. Feel free to catch up with us, and we'll see you again in May.